There was a question raised recently about why artists were getting a uniform $5,000 assessment for personal property. And the argument people made who were upset about it was that it was arbitrary. You hadn't gone and looked at the studio. So one year they said they had $100 worth of equipment. Then all of a sudden everyone gets a $5,000. So it's almost like prove you're guilty of owning something until you prove you don't.
That was considerably inaccurate assertion. First of all, there was no targeting of artists per se. It was a revaluation. Personal property, by the way, is revalued on an annual basis. That's by statute. It was when I came back into the organization in late 2008. We looked at the histories of all low assessments, very, very low assessments, where some of these types of organizations or entities were paying tax bills of $8 a year, $10 a year, $12 a year, something like that. So we looked at all of those. They had been paying the same thing in some cases for longer than 15 years, longer than our records would go back. And there had been no revaluation of those entities since those early days. We decided at that time to attempt to contact some of them and determine if new acquisitions had been occurred and so on and so forth. And actually that's part of the declaration that we send out, is to see if there's new acquisitions. And it was in part our opinion that some of those businesses to be in operation for as long as 15 or 20 years without acquisition of new assets seemed unusual. We then went to an industry standard where we had other similar types of organizations or entities that had higher assessments and did kind of a median-based revaluation of those types of accounts based upon square foot areas and the numbers of employees and mostly the small type businesses who were declaring and who had new acquisitions, and we used those as a basis to revalue those other accounts.
So what if? But they have a form that's to fill to tell you if they did it.
That is correct.
So you basically didn't believe that people were reporting honestly?
That is correct.
So how about people who are reporting honestly? They kind of felt like they were called guilty until proven innocent. Do you think they had a legitimate beef, or?
No. I mean, those are assertions. If people want to come in and demonstrate that, I mean, that is part of the process. Whether you consider that fair or equitable or not, that is part of the process that we all do. And it is part of my job to make sure that everyone is paying the fair share, because our philosophy is that if everybody does pay their fair share, everybody else pays less.
Right.
And that's kind of the basis for that. Yes.